I wanted to talk to you guys today a little bit about pickup. Now, this isn't a how-to guide on how to pick up girls and stuff like that, but I wanted to bring this up because I've been reminded of how things can kind of work when it comes to going out, meeting women. It could be day game, it could be night game, because a lot of how this works is the initial attraction levels, okay? I think a lot of the times guys get hard on themselves because they get rejected a lot if they try this stuff. And, that's just the reality for any guy doing this stuff. You will get rejected more than you would like, more than you'd think. It's just the nature of the beast, okay? Everybody goes through it. I do too. I remember there was a time where I was really doing a lot of like day game type stuff, going out, meeting women. And there'd be times where it was just like this long, like repetitious pattern of not succeeding. Okay. They had a boyfriend or that was their reason or they weren't interested. It wouldn't go anywhere. Right. But then there were times where it's like, boom, things were hitting. It's like girl after girl, I get quite a few. Like the numbers all of a sudden went up. And you kind of sit there and think, well, what's going on there? What did I do differently? And a lot of times you're really not doing too different, but it's just that girl has an attraction for you, right? And attraction, of course, is the number one like wingman for picking up girls just out in the world. Just if they see you and they like you, boom, it makes it so much easier. Now, this brings us to conversations of, well, you gotta be 6 foot tall, you gotta be, ripped and all this stuff. And quite frankly, that's just not true. Okay, I'm not tall, guys. Just a little secret. I'm only 5'8". Okay, so by some people's standards, that's short, but I don't personally think it's short, and it's never really bothered me. But for most people, the benchmark is like a 6 foot height, right? Okay, fine. Now, it's never affected me. I've dated basketball players, like Division I college athletes. I've dated them. They were like 6 foot something. Didn't bother them, didn't bother me. It was cool. Dating a big girl, like a tall girl, I mean. It was crazy. It was kind of like, it was an interesting experience. I enjoyed it. And, it's been several girls who've been slightly taller than me that I've gone with. It's just never a big deal because I don't make it a big deal and it doesn't really affect me that much. Or at all, I should say. But so that's why it's like, you really don't let those external factors get in your way and prevent you from going out and meeting people. Now, when it comes to the pickup type of stuff, I'm more of a contextual kind of a pickup guy, meaning I prefer to go to an event, like an art gallery, dance classes, something going on where you're kind of just have a reason to be talking to people. That's where I've done the best. I've done really, really well there than just randomly approaching people. And that's worked for me too, is approaching people like in grocery stores and on the street and coffee shops. That works, but I just prefer contextual. I think all of you guys can probably agree with that. It just makes it a lot more smooth and there's already a commonality there, so it just makes it a lot easier. And again, I was reminded recently because I was at an event, it was like a liquor tasting, and this guy approached me. And we were chit-chatting about the boozes, and he was with a woman. And the entire time, I assumed that was his wife or his girlfriend. So, I was chatting with her, chatting with him. We were just kind of having a nice conversation. And then he mentioned that, his wife and him went camping this weekend, but he came back from the camping, and she stayed there. So I was like, well, wait a second. I go, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I thought this was your wife. He's like, oh, no, this is my sister. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Because it was funny because during that conversation, I kind of felt like there's like a little bit of something going on. Like, when you do this long enough, you get good at sensing there's a little bit of a chemistry going on. So anyway, towards the end of the conversation, he goes, well, hey, you guys should exchange numbers. And she was very excited about that. And I just remember thinking like, it's amazing how things happen to you when you just get out there and you put yourself in circumstances. And of course, that attraction is already there. And that made it so much easier, right? So this is what I'm trying to say here is you need to be living life. Don't be afraid to go out and do things, to interact with people, talk to people. Just enjoy interacting with people, with women, and get really good at it. Because then when circumstances like that come up, like her brother probably thought I was a cool guy. I was very knowledgeable about liquor. good conversationalist, and he knew his sister was single and thought, hey, you guys should connect. Very nice of him, and she was a very beautiful girl. Long hair, very pretty face, like a delicate small face, and big knockers. I mean, she was a very, very cute girl. So I wanted to do a video on this because I was like, so many guys that I hear from, a lot of them, of course, are, under 30 in their 20s, and they're kind of at home. They're on their phones. They're looking on the internet. They're watching videos. They're, learning stuff, but they're not really putting like anything into practice. Okay. They're not getting out there. You're not getting out there and talking with people, like seeing what it's like to actually interact. And so this is what I recommend to you is get out there and talk to as many people as possible. Learn to become social. I've been doing this for so long. I used to be very shy. Maybe like you, if you're a shy guy. I used to be like that. I used to be more introverted. I was fun with my friends, but when it came to strangers, I was like very kind of introverted, quiet. Then I changed. I had to change. I had a job that required me to be speaking in front of people, interacting with hundreds of people all of the time. And so I was like, you know what? I need to learn how to do this. And I did. And ever since then, I practice almost every single day. No matter if I go to a coffee shop, grocery store, wherever I'm going, I always interact with people. I learn how to do it. And when you can learn how to do this, when you get good at this, you'll notice more opportunities come your way to meet women. There's something that's comforting and there's something that's attractive, obviously, about a man who's comfortable in any social setting, right? Now, if the physical attraction's there and you can smooth talk, you can have a little fun, you can tease, you can banter, you can lead those conversations, you can lead to getting that phone number or asking her out, the world becomes a lot more fun. Okay, you don't necessarily need to be on dating apps. I mean, there's nothing wrong with them. Like I said, they're great. Could be a great pipeline for dates. But there is a beauty. I'm old school. I grew up in the 80s. So I grew up before the internet, before cell phones. And I really value interacting with people just in real life. It tests you in a different way. It challenges you. Sometimes it's freaky. Approaching a really beautiful girl, you're like, fucking hell, man. Everybody gets like that, I get like that sometimes, which is why, for me, contextual pickup and meeting is so much better because it's like you're in this environment where everyone's kind of somewhat knowing each other, even though you never met. But there's a reason to talk, there's a reason to chat. It just makes it very smooth, right? But even still, if I'm out and if it's like a normal, just total stranger, cold approach, pickup, there's still nerves, but it's fun. There's something beautiful about human interaction. That is what we're meant to do. So I don't want you guys to be sitting around just doom scrolling all day, getting too much in your head, looking at the logistics, studying all these data points and all this other stuff. You need to get out. You need to fail a couple of times, mess it up, mumble your words, chicken out, all that stuff. This is a reminder to you that life is fun when you live it, not just think about it, okay? So that's what I challenge you guys this week. It's Monday, June 23rd. Go out this week. Set a number of people you want to talk to. Set a number of women that you want to talk to. Maybe it's not to get numbers or whatever, but just to banter and practice. Set a number for yourself and do it. And let me know how it goes in those comments below. Because like I said, like at the event that I was at, it's like I wasn't trying to do anything, but opportunities just come. They start to come your way. And I've noticed that throughout my entire life. Ever since really dialing this in, opportunities present themselves. Like I think I've mentioned in another video, one of my favorite times was on an airplane. Instant date right there. 6-hour flight, sitting next to this beautiful girl. Had a date on the airplane basically. That night we went out. We spent the entire weekend together. I mean, how fucking cool is that when you can just roll into that shit easily? And again, I could look the same way. She might find me physically attractive, but if I don't know how to speak, if I don't know how to have fun and banter and make her feel a certain way, even though my looks are the same, it might not have the same response. And that's why I'm saying, don't get hung up on this. I gotta be 6 foot and ripped thing. Obviously, that's going to help you guys. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. If you want to do that, then do it. You will reap a lot of benefits by being ripped. But if you don't know the game portion of the situation, if you can't interact, it's going to make it more difficult after the initial encounter. Okay? So like I said, not all of you want to become gym rats, and that's why I'm saying get out there and practice the other muscle, which is the social muscle, the bantering muscle, the smooth James Bond, Sonny Crockett muscle. Okay? Doesn't just have to be the body. Obviously, you don't want to be a huge, fat, obese dude, but it doesn't have to just be the body. It can be the mind, the cunningness, the wit. I can't compete with a 6-foot guy in height. No matter what I do, I'll never be that tall. I'm okay with that. I don't need to compete with that. That's completely out of my mind because it's something that'll never happen. So I work with what I got. And I want you guys to do the same. You don't have to be me. You don't have to be 6 foot tall. Do become the most masculine leader that you can be. Get out there, enjoy life, interact with women, talk to them, get good at this. Enjoy it so much that it becomes second nature. So you can either talk to a senior citizen or you can talk to a girl your age that you want to potentially date. Even today, I was at a park listening to music. Again, I just stroll over there, listen to some music hanging, and after the show, this older woman came up to me and was just chatting with me, telling me how much she enjoyed the thing, and I thought that was great. I started chatting with her, asked her where she's from, told her, hey, you better come back next week, because they do these little concerts in the park every week. But again, it's like being able to say that. Now, if a pretty girl came up to me and said the same thing, I'd do the same exact thing, where it's like, a little chit chat, whatever it is. Hey, you better come next week. I'm gonna be waiting for you. This fun little banter, this teasing, this boom, this commanding presence. Anyway, get out there this week, practice it, and I want to hear about it. Write some comments down below. All right, guys. If you're interested in working with me one-on-one, there's a link down below where you can book a consult call with me, where I can find out more about you, what's holding you back, where you're getting stuck, and if it seems like you'd be a good fit, if you're a guy who's like, you know what, I'm ready to change my life when it comes to dating relationships right now, I will share with you what my coaching program is all about. And we'll go from there. So that does it for this video. I will see you guys in the next one.